So today I'm in Prague, and I've only decided to make really random videos. So I made some in Greek, and now here I am in Czech Republic. I guess it's technically the second time I haven't been able to read any language written, but I eventually learned some Greek, so I don't know if this counts. So I'm gonna go see the main sites, do a quick tour. I'm not going up to the castle today, I'm gonna do that tomorrow. But I'm gonna walk around, see what there is to see. Hopefully not die of heat stroke in this city. Here I am again, exact same place as I was yesterday, but this time my debit card worked, so I finally have money. Yay! That's super exciting. So people kept asking me yesterday, is it pretty? I was like, well, it was really dark when I got here. So I guess I have to answer the question, is it pretty today? And it looks pretty nice so far. I haven't seen any sights yet. I had a really late start today. It's like 1 o'clock and I still haven't even eaten. But I'm gonna find lots of coffee, and get walking. It's a pretty big city. I think my goal for today is to see the majority of the major buildings from the outside and then go to the old Jewish quarter, which is supposed to be really cool. And then, alright, history buffs, can you guess where Carmela is? In the main square of Prague. Behind me stands the State Museum of Bohemia, and a very impressive looking guy on horseback. I can only assume at one point he was a king. It's very cute. I also bought some books based out of, written in Czechoslovakia, I guess Czech Republic now. The first one is called Me, Myself, and Prague. It's about a Jewish American woman who comes to Prague to find her roots. And then the second one is an old story called The Golem, which it's an old Jewish story about a rabbi who creates a clay man and then brings him to life and eventually runs into problems with it. But yeah, so I actually saw them selling little clay figurines of the Golem. So after I read the story, if I decide I like it, I might come back and find that. But I think my goal for today is just to see the Jewish quarter, poke around a little bit. I've got a ticket that lasts me all day to see everything in this area, and then sit down, read some of my books, chill out a little bit, you know, do the things. So I'll catch you up later. So I have to tell you a funny story. I'm in the old Jewish quarter, which has been, it's always been an old Jewish quarter. It's been like the Jewish quarter for like 1,000 years. Very long history of Jewish history. And so I walk past the Spanish synagogue and I'm like, okay, so I'm gonna go visit some of the synagogues. Just realized I've never been in a synagogue before, so I just was in my first one. Super exciting. And I'm like, okay, so I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna wander around, so on and so forth. And I turn a corner, and suddenly it's so stereotypical. It's the Diamond International Corporation, and Prada, and Gucci, and every jeweler you've ever imagined. And there's all of these like money exchange places and bank places. And I was just like, I don't think I could come up with a more stereotypical way to present it. That's pretty impressive. It's just funny to me. It's probably not funny to anybody else, but it is to me. So now I'm going to the old Jewish cemetery, which I saw from the outside. It looks really cool. So I learned a lot of stuff today. Yes, I know there's a weird reflection on my face. Don't worry about it. That's where I'm at. Jewish Museum, which actually covers like 10 locations. So far I visited the Pinka Synagogue, the Old Jewish Cemetery, and the Klausen Synagogue. Klausen Synagogue is like this display of Jewish life They've got all of the religious instruments, and then upstairs they've got like depictions of typical Jewish life around the turn of the century, I guess. And that was really cool. So then I'm like, we knew the cemetery, which is really cool. Don't get me wrong. It's just I learned a lot in about 5 minutes as soon as I walked in. So I go up and they say, okay, go upstairs first and then downstairs and then you'll go see the cemetery. Okay, so I go upstairs and that leads me to the Pinkas synagogue, which I was not prepared for. If you've ever been to Prague, or maybe if you know anything about Jewish culture, which I obviously don't, you might know that the Pinkas synagogue is a synagogue that, it's not a functioning synagogue, but it used to be a temple, and now the walls are covered with inscriptions of the names of Czech citizens who were killed by the Nazis. And it's really intense because you just walk in and you don't think anything's going to happen, and you walk in and there's people starting on the wall and you look around and you realize, I was not prepared for this. And it's just very overwhelming, and of course it's a very cool, dark, quiet place. And then you go upstairs, and if you've ever heard of And I Never Saw Another Butterfly, which I talk a lot about for some reason, you'll know that it's a collection of poems and drawings from children at the Terezin concentration camp. And they have several of those drawings on display upstairs. And then you go down, you go out into the old Jewish cemetery. Another thing I learned in about 20 seconds was that when they say it's the old Jewish ghetto, they don't just mean from Nazi times, they mean that Jewish people were actually segregated from the rest of society for hundreds of years. Was not aware of that. The walls were torn down around the end of, let's see, it says in here somewhere, I think it was like the end of the 19th century. Anyway, yeah. They were barricaded in. Like, that's crazy to me. I had no idea. So I'm walking through the cemetery and I'm reading. There's 12,000 gravestones. 12,000. All of them face Jerusalem, and they're all in Hebrew, and they're really cool. And I actually saw the gravesite for Rabbi Lowe, who's the guy who animated the golem that I was telling you about. But anyway, so there's 12,000 gravestones. There's 100,000 people buried in there, and they couldn't be buried outside of the walls of the ghetto, so they were all buried on top of each other. Thank you.
Yeah.
Delicious.
Enjoy it.
Thanks.